Hello, friends. It's Nomad Brad coming to you from my box truck. We're hanging out today, doing another live stream. Just want to say hello. Please let me know how the audio's coming through. I've never quite figured out the audio situation. Sometimes it's coming in hot, sometimes it's low. So let me know in the chat how it sounds. Hopefully, it sounds good. And looks like I am live. I see we already got some folks in the chat. I see Life is Bananas is here with the first comment. Life is Bananas likes the thumbnail. Thank you, Life is Bananas. I like that thumbnail too. I took that photo 6 years ago in my very first van. That photo was taken in Pahrump, Nevada. And just the beginning, just a young nomad, not a care in the world, just a man living in a van. That was just the beginning. So that photo really takes me back, but I really like it. I think it's a fun photograph. What else we got? Super Dave in the house. I appreciate you, Super Dave. You're always here showing the support. Hopefully your box truck is moving along nicely. Let's see. Sounds good. Sound is very good. Awesome. Happy to hear it. Charlie Pepin is here, another channel member. Hello, Charlie. Happy to see you here. I know Charlie asked me a question about the ceiling in my box truck. Unfortunately, I do not have any videos of the ceiling. It was one of those projects that I did. One of the first projects that I did, and I was in Texas. And some things I didn't film. I was just like in a hurry, or for whatever reason I didn't film them. So there's no video of me installing the ceiling, but I gave Charlie a few pointers. It's very, very easy to install the ceiling the way that I did it. Diana's in the house. Hello, Diana. It's good to see you. I hope you're feeling better. I know Diana on our last live stream, or maybe 2 live streams ago, I think she maybe went to the doctor's office. So hopefully she's back at it. Full nomad fashion, ready to keep going on her shuttle bus build. I think Diana got a shuttle bus. Outdoors Dreadhead is here. What's up, Dreadhead? Good to see you, man. I'm happy to have you here in the live stream. Another solid supporter, always hanging out in the chat, bringing the heat. John C is here with his chorizo chicken and veggies and smoked paprika. John C sounds like quite the cook. I would love to have some of that chicken chorizo. I love a little bit of a spicy dish, and that sounds pretty flavorful. And I'm definitely not a cook. I do make food to sustain myself, but I have no culinary expertise. And most of the food I make turns out pretty bland, and so I just dump a bunch of seasonings on it. So I'm sure John C is doing it right, and I'm sure that chorizo is delicious. We got Kaya in the house, living off the road. This guy, I've known him for many years. I met up with him in San Diego probably 3 or 4 years ago. Super cool guy. Met him in person, and he's just always been a supporter. So happy to have Kaya here, and hoping to see you, buddy, when I come back to San Diego. Hoping to leave this weekend. I am currently in Yuma, Arizona still. Got a part changed out on the van again, and I think we got it fixed. I think we're good to hit the road. And I wanted to give you guys a quick shot from where I'm at right now, because we're coming to you live from Arizona, but it's not just Arizona. We are coming to you live from the Home Depot parking lot, baby. So this is a live Home Depot parking lot view. I am doing a live stream from here today. I actually need to hop into Home Depot and pick up a few products before I hit the road. And so I just thought, you know what? Let's just do a little Home Depot cam and show the people what the parking lot life is all about. Pretty nice. Pretty good internet reception here. I'm loving it. What else we got? Sean in the house. Good evening, Sean. Happy to see you. Welcome to the live stream, my friend. We're going to talk all about van life today. So I've been getting a lot of email questions from folks, especially since my YouTube videos have been doing a lot better recently. So I'm getting a lot of new folks with questions. And so I wanted to answer those questions here on the live stream, so that I replied to all the emails and said, hey, just watch the live stream. I'll cover all your questions. And then also that helps other folks, because I noticed people do come back and rewatch the live streams. So this will just be kind of an archive of information, and so hopefully we can help out a lot more people. King Gamer's in the house. Just talked to King. He got back from Las Vegas, had a successful trip to Vegas, ended up staying at a couple stealth camping spots that we recommended last week. And so King Gamer had a good time in Vegas, went to a System of a Down concert, and it sounds like he had a really good time. Let's see who else we got. Danny G in the chat. Hello, Danny G. Happy to see you, my man. Happy to have you here. Thanks for the support. Roberto Starr. Excellent topic. Looking forward to hear everything about it. Charlie says, I'm going to look at a truck tomorrow missing the catalytic converter. I'm not surprised, Charlie. The thieves are cutting them off left and right, but from what I hear, fixing up a catalytic converter isn't too big of a problem. Just make sure you negotiate that price down, and it should be a great rig for you. Diana, I'm trying to sell my 25-foot shuttle bus. What's going on, Diana? Why are you selling the bus? Are you getting out of the Nomad game? Did you decide to just sell out your rigs and take a different route? Tell us about it. Tell us about your plans, Diana. Sean says, how's the weather? The weather is hot, Sean. It's like 95 degrees today in Yuma, but I got AC, so I'm comfortable. I'm chilling at like 76 degrees right now. Very, very comfortable inside the van. Very hot in Yuma, Arizona, which is why I'm excited to head to San Diego. Hopefully Friday I'll hit the road, and the next time you guys see me, we'll be coming live from a beach, baby. And this Home Depot cam will be a beach cam, and I'm looking forward to that. Watch some sunsets on the ocean. Is going to be a good time. So let's go ahead and dive into it. We're going to dive into tonight's topic. And so additionally, I'm going to cover just a bunch of questions that people sent in. And then additionally, if you guys have questions, something comes up, drop it in the chat, and I will try to get to those questions. I'll watch for them as they come up, but I'll do a dedicated, like the last 10 minutes of the live stream, we're going to go for about an hour. The last 10 minutes, I'm going to just go ahead and go over any questions that you guys have here tonight. So drop them in the chat, but again, at the end, I'll ask you for questions if I didn't cover them already. Diana says, I bought a 4-window short schoolie. Oh, that's right, Diana. I was mistaken. I was thinking the shuttle bus was your new rig, but the shuttle bus was your original rig, and then the 4-window bus is your new vehicle. So good. I'm happy to hear it. The dream is not dead. Diana is still continuing on with her conversion goals. Outdoors Dreadhead has a question. Let's see if we can help him out. Outdoors Dreadhead says, I've got a question about solar panel, 12 volt or 24 volt. I'm looking at two 12 volt, 280 amp hour batteries and 3 555 watt panels. Okay, so Dreadhead, that's a good question. There's all kinds of different things going on here. So your solar panels, when you get to that big of a panel, like a 500 watt, basically any solar panel that's 300 watts or more is going to be like between 30 and 40 volts. So all your panels are going to be higher voltage, and then you'll just have to make sure you get the proper charge controller. And what the charge controller does is that will drop down the voltage from your panel voltage to whatever matches your battery bank. So you can do whatever system you want. You have 12 volt battery, or if you go with 12 volt batteries, you can either wire them in parallel, which will maintain 12 volts, or you can wire two 12 volt batteries in series, which is what I did in my vehicle, and that gives you a 24 volt battery bank. So the benefit of a higher voltage battery bank, like a 24 volt bank, is just that you can use smaller wiring. And it's also more efficient when you're using an inverter to go from 24 volts DC to 120 AC. It's more efficient to go from 24 to 120 than to go from 12 to 120. So if you watch like Will Prouse, he's kind of the OG of solar and electrical, and he recommends most people don't even do 12 volt systems anymore. He recommends most people do at least 24 volt, and 48 volt is becoming even more and more popular as well. So I feel kind of the same way. Unless you're doing a very small system, I recommend doing like a larger, a 24-volt battery bank for sure. So that's what I would do. And then do a 24-volt battery bank, and then just make sure your inverter and charge controller is compatible. You might consider a electrical system like the one I have, that all-in-one hybrid inverter charge controller. It's only like $500 on Amazon, which is a really good price, and it also gives you a shore power connection. And if you guys want more info, I actually put together a list of all the electrical parts that are inside my van with Amazon links, because people keep asking me, where do you get this? Where do you get that? And so I just made an Amazon list so you guys can check it out. So if you go to this website here, this link I dropped in the chat, then you can look at this inverter charger I have by SunGold Power. It's been a very good unit. I haven't had any issues. I was really hard on it. I mean, it ran all day when I was in Texas, pushing that air conditioner just constantly, all day, all night. So that thing ran around the clock, 24/7, pumping the air conditioner for months at a time, never stopped, never turned off, and it's only like $500. So that's what I would do, Dreadhead. I would recommend a 24-volt system. King Gamer says smash that like button. I appreciate you, King Gamer. I would definitely recommend smashing this like. Help the people know there's good info here, and bring in the likes, the viewers, the people that need the info. Let's get them the info. Danny G says, we will see a runaway cart go across the screen. Yeah, I kind of wanted to keep it fun a little bit. Instead of just you staring at me the whole time, you can watch the Home Depot cam and see if anything gets crazy. Maybe we'll see some more van life roll through, or maybe there'll be a big shopping cart rolling across the parking lot. Who knows? It's going to be crazy. Tommy in the house, Agent Officer Thomas A. Porter. Happy to have you here, Tommy. I don't recall seeing you in a live chat anytime recently. Happy to have you. I spoke to Tommy on the phone about maybe a month ago. Super nice guy. And I hope he's able to accomplish his dreams of hitting the road in a box truck and doing some traveling. Very talented guy, rich history of music and working in law enforcement. Just really cool guy, has a lot going on. Odorous Smegma. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, bro. That's quite the name. 64 volt. Solar panels, sure. 64 volt panels, sure. Battery system, no. They don't really do 64-volt battery systems. It's not standard, at least. Outdoors Dreadhead, I'm looking at an all-in-one solar controller inverter. Yeah, Dreadhead, get it all-in-one. Check out that SunGold Power. I dropped a link in the chat. It's a really good unit. The price is good, and it's reliable. The thing about getting an all-in-one unit is now you have all your eggs in one basket. So, like, on a separate system, if one component goes out, like if your charge controller goes out, you can still use the inverter. You can use some stuff while you replace the charge controller. But when you get an all-in-one unit, if something goes out, then the whole unit has to be replaced. Like, you basically got nothing. So I always recommend don't buy like the super cheap, sketchy Chinese units. Amazon has some weird knockoff units that are like $300. I just wouldn't recommend it. I think your power supply is so critical that I would just hate to rely on a kind of a unknown unit and then have it maybe come into some issues. So I would definitely recommend getting a brand name unit. You don't have to get the SunGold Power, but I've really been happy with it. Let's see what else we got. Life is bananas. How are you finding your stovetop? Is it induction? Amazon reviews are all over the map. Yes, I love my stovetop. It is an induction stovetop, dual burner. The brand is it might be pronounced Dew Top. It's DUXTOP, and it's Canadian. I think that might be French, though. I think it's French Canadian, so it might be pronounced like Dew Top, but it's very good. And again, when I'm buying stuff on Amazon that I need to rely on, I try to get brand name stuff because I don't want, and that's why the reviews are all over the place. Some of those induction cooktops are just random Chinese brands and the quality just isn't there. So I did my research, and I don't have that inverter, I don't have that cooktop on that Amazon list now that I think about it, but I will go back and add it. But the brand is, I'll put it in the chat, DUXTOP. I would definitely get that one. get something by them. It's still priced reasonably. I think I paid like $120 for the dual burner. But I mean, keep in mind that thing's been bouncing around in my van for over a year and a half now. I mean, all the bumps and the shaking, and I haven't had any problems with it. I use it every day. Sometimes 3-4 times a day, and it's been a really great unit. So I love induction. The benefit is the solar power recharges it, so it's free energy. You don't have to buy and fill propane tanks, and why not just use free power from the sun? I'm a super huge fan of solar, so I just really recommend it. You're welcome, Dreadhead. Look at that Amazon list. I got all kinds of parts on there, all kinds of different things you might consider. Everything on the list is stuff that I've used in my build personally, or stuff that I have installed for clients. So I've used it, I know it's quality, and it's not going to leave you high and dry. John C has a question. If you had to do it all over again, would you do the same battery setup, or would you do a Blue Eddy or other portable system? So John C, great question. Here's my thought on the portable all-in-one electrical systems, like a Blue Eddy or a Anker Solex or a Jackery. I think they're good units for occasional use, and I think they're good units for someone that just wants a basic electrical system. If you're just going to run like a max fan and maybe a single burner induction in a fridge, I think it's okay. But the problem I have with those units is it's an all-in-one unit. So if one little part goes out on it, you can't repair it. You can't repair it. All you can do is, if it's within warranty, you can send it back to the manufacturer. But keep in mind, once you send it back, now you have no electrical in your vehicle. And the reason I say this is because I tested out a Renogy Lycan like 4 years ago when these power stations first were hitting the market. Renogy made one, and they sent me a brand new unit, and the USB ports didn't work on it. And I was out in Parker, Arizona. I picked it up at the local post office, went all the way out to my campsite out on BLM land. USB ports didn't work. And so it's like, now what are you going to do? I have this huge 60-pound battery pack. I have to haul it back into town, ship it back to Renogy. I have no electrical now for a week or 2 weeks while they replace it. Versus what I like about these type of systems is you can replace something. Like I have 12 USB ports all over the van. If one USB port goes out, I can replace it. And I have a bunch of other ones that work. If my battery bank dies, it's going to suck, but I can have new batteries overnighted on Amazon, and I can be up and running in a day or two. If one component fails, you can replace it. And if you want to upgrade or expand, you can replace it. Those all-in-one systems, the battery pack, it's all built in. There's no replacing, repairing, fixing. So I think for long term, I really don't recommend the all-in-one units. If you're going to just do stuff part-time on the weekends, or you're just charging phones and doing very minimal work, then I think it's fine. But for someone that's going to go full-time and they want to use a system, I really would not recommend an all-in-one unit. Super Dave with a super chat. I appreciate you, Super Dave. I'm happy that you are finding my information valuable, and I appreciate the support. It helps me get down the road. Gas ain't cheap, and this van is thirsty. Thank you, Super Dave. I really appreciate it. Let's go down the list. Let's see what other questions we have. Josh LLC, starting my Nomad life in 2 weeks in my Prius to get a feel for what van life will be like. Chandler, Arizona. What's up, Josh? Happy to have you. Man, van life in a Prius. You, sir, are going to be an envy of all van lifers for your fuel economy. Those things get like 40 to 60 miles per gallon. So you're going to be just sipping fuel. I've met quite a few people that live in a Prius. It's totally doable. So I'm happy for you. Good luck. And, if you want some action, come on down to San Diego. It's a great spot for Nomad life. There's so much action. You can sleep right by the beach. You can hang out all day in the beach parking lots for free. There's like boardwalks and restaurants. It's such a good time. If you want to stretch your legs a little bit, Josh, come down to San Diego. Mike says Cali Home Depot might see shoplifters run out. Yeah, that's funny, man. We'll see if any shoplifters come running across the screen, man. Keep me posted. Joe in the chat says, "What's up? You're gonna have to get a surfboard for San Diego." I hear you, Joe. The ocean is calling. I'm looking forward to it. Outdoors Dreadhead says Eco Worthy was the brand I was looking at. A lot of people talk about it. Yeah, man, as long as it's got good reviews and people talk about it, then that's pretty good. So Sean says, Brad, how did you get started as far as getting money for your van and all the parts to go into it? So Sean, my very first van was a Ford E250 Econoline. That's the van that you saw in the thumbnail for tonight's live chat. I bought the van for $6,000 and I had some savings built up. Honestly, I had money in the bank. So I bought the van for $6,000, but it was a really minimal build. I probably only spent like $2,000 building it out. I got a lot of materials from the Restore and also IKEA. Some of the IKEA stores, like they have like a clearance section and you can go in there and get stuff really cheap. Like you can get tabletops and cabinets and things that are like display models or scratch and dent for really, really cheap. So I built out my entire first van with like scrap cabinet wood from IKEA. And the funny thing is it looked really fancy because you know how they have like that polished, super glossy, like high-end finish on it. So it looked like a really high-end build out, but it was literally like a couple $100 worth of clearance wood from IKEA. So and I had a basic solar electrical system. I had a 200 watts of solar. Those panels were like $100 each. I had a 2,000 watt pure sine inverter, and I only had a 200 amp hour AGM battery. So very, very cheap electrical system. And I lived in that van for 2 years and I loved it. So, I definitely recommend anybody that's getting into this lifestyle, you got to have some savings. Especially when you're living in a vehicle, stuff can go wrong. You can have a breakdown. And, the last thing you want is to be stuck somewhere and have zero money. So you just got to save for it, man. Now, you don't have to buy a van. You can start with whatever car you have. If you have a car or an SUV, you can just start in that. Hopefully you have a job right now. And so you could, if you're in an apartment or something, I would just put everything in storage. Put whatever necessities you need into your car that you have and just start living in that. And a storage unit's going to cost you $100 a month, and then the money you save from not having rent in an apartment or a house, I mean, you're going to be saving a couple grand a month at least. So you can stack up savings pretty fast if you go that route. And man, if you look on YouTube, there's so many people now living in their cars for that exact same reason. When I started van life 6 years ago, it was really only older people that were like retired and they didn't want to do RVs, so they did vans. And then the other segment was people kind of like me that wanted adventure, and we were just doing it like for the adventure and the fun and the cost savings. But like nowadays, people are doing it legit just because the cost of living is so expensive. So it's a totally different crowd now. I mean, there's tons of regular people working regular jobs at Home Depot, as servers in restaurants, bartenders that are even nurses that are living in their vehicles. So it's totally common now. You don't even need to have a van to get started, but just that initial savings from not paying rent, you're going to be able to stack cash pretty quickly. I see another super chat came through from Pat Noonan. Thank you, Pat. I appreciate you. $25 chat. Thank you, Pat. I'm so happy you're appreciating the content. I'm just doing my best to deliver the good information and help you guys out. Oh, here comes the tow truck. Here comes the tow truck. Oh, don't get me. Don't get me. Oh, my goodness. Yes, thank you, Pat. This is Pat's first super chat on a live stream. Thank you, Pat. I'm your first super chat, and I'm happy to hear that you did it with me. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Appreciate you. All right, let's hop back and see what else we got going on with the questions. Keep them coming. Off-Grid Cowboy, how's the VHB tape on the solar panels holding up? Great question, Cowboy. I'm actually doing a full electrical solar review video. It'll go live Sunday. I'm going to be talking about all my system more in depth. That was one of the questions that came in that I'm not going to be covering on tonight's live stream because they want a lot of specific information like watts and wiring configuration. But Sunday's video, I'm going to cover all the details, but I'll tell you just while we're here, the VHB tape has been holding up awesome. I've been all over the country. I started out in Texas. I went up to New Mexico, back to Texas, over to Arizona, over to San Diego, thousands of miles, probably 4,000 miles at least. I mean, rough roads, on BLM land, on forest roads, and I haven't had any trouble with it. I just washed my solar panels a few days ago just to kind of check them out. And I checked, every time I wash my panels, I always check the VHB tape. I give my panels a little shake just to make sure nothing's loose, there's no movement, and they're still rock solid. They are just as solid as day one. So the VHB tape has been holding up great. I absolutely recommend it for anybody that's considering it. Do the VHB tape. Now there's different types of tape. You want to be careful you get the right model number. And so on that Amazon list that I mentioned earlier, I do have the VHB tape. I'll drop it again. I do have the VHB tape on this Amazon list, as well as the rails that I used to secure my panels down to the roof. I think that's a better way to do it. Mount your solar panels to the little rail system and then mount the rail system to the roof. That way, if you need to remove a panel or replace a panel, you can, because trying to remove that VHB tape is going to be a son of a gun. And so basically the rails are now permanent, but you can still swap out the panels, reconfigure them, do whatever you want, not have to worry about it. Donald Frazier, where did you get the AC system? How much battery and solar to run a 2,000 watt pure sine wave inverter? Donald Frazier, great question. I got my air conditioner on Amazon. It's on the chat. It's on the link I dropped below. It's been a very good unit. Now the thing with the air conditioner is you have to be careful. This style is designed to be a DIY version. It's very important you get the DIY version because the refrigerant line fittings attach with just a simple wrench. There's no special tools required. That's very important. If you buy the other mini splits, a traditional mini split, you have to end up welding the copper lines in place, and then you need a bunch of extra additional equipment. It's very expensive. You have to have a vacuum pump to evacuate all the moisture. You have to have a vacuum gauge, refrigerant gauges. There's like a whole bunch of extra steps and equipment and knowledge if you buy a standard mini split. So make sure you get the DIY model. How much battery and solar to run a 2,000 watt pure sine inverter? Donald, so a 2,000 watt inverter can run off any battery and solar that you have. The question that you're probably asking, the thing you really need to consider is how often you're going to be using that 2,000 watt inverter. So that 2,000 watt rating is per hour. So if you use a 2,000 watt inverter for 10 minutes to run a coffee maker, then it's only using, a tenth of that, or 10 minutes of that 2,000 watts. I don't have a calculator, but it's using a very small fraction. If you use that 2,000 watt inverter for a whole hour, say to run an air conditioner, now it's going to be pulling 2,000 watts. So that's where you need to size your battery bank properly. So that kind of gets into battery bank sizing. And so the way it works, let me give you guys a brief overview. I'm not going to get into the math, but this is how you design an electrical system. You have to start by figuring out how much or what appliances you want to use and how much energy they need. So if you have a microwave, a cooktop, an iPhone, a computer, a Max fan, a refrigerator, an air conditioner, you have to look at all the appliances, figure out how many watts per hour those appliances consume. Then you have to figure out how many hours you're going to use those appliances for. And then that number will tell you how many watts you're going to use in a day. And then you want to size your battery bank accordingly, right? So let's just say, for example, all your stuff put together, it's going to use 3,000 watts a day. So now what you got to do is size your battery bank so that it has at least 300 watt hours of storage. And then you want to have your solar panels large enough that they can provide 300 watt hours of energy in one day. So for example, if you have 1,000 watts of solar and you get 4 hours of sunlight per day, then those solar panels would put out 4,000 watt hours of energy per day. So it's a little bit complex, but if you guys want help calculating a system, I have that as an option. So I'm happy to sit down with you guys and help you figure out exactly what size system you need, how much battery, how much solar panel, what brands to buy, how to hook it up. I can help you with any and all of that. Just let me know. You can send me an email, nomadbrad503@gmail.com, and we can talk about getting you set up. Charles says, get 2 all-in-one systems, always have a spare. Yeah, that's an option. You could get 2 all-in-one systems if you wanted to go that route. Always have a spare. But, the problem is a good all-in-one system, you're going to be looking at, 12 to $1,500, right? Like I just got sent an All Powers. I'm going to be reviewing it soon, an All Powers all-in-one. And the all-in-one unit has like a 2,500 watt inverter, I think a 200 amp hour battery. That unit retails for $1,200. So basically you're going to spend, if you're going to buy 2 of those, you're going to spend $2,400 on an all-in-one system. When if you just built your own system, you could put it together for less than $1,000. So it's like, and then now you have a separate all-in-one system that's just taking up space in your van. And if you never need it, then you've wasted $1,200 and you have also wasted space in your van. So, I mean, you can go that route, but I don't really think that makes sense. Nana Matt says, hi there in Chula Vista, 1 week on the road. What's the name of the street in Oceanside I can park on at night so I can regroup, rest, and move on? Oceanside. I don't know. I haven't been to Oceanside in a few years. I was in Ocean Beach. The street I was on in Ocean Beach was right in front of the sports arena. So that sports arena right there in Ocean Beach, the street's right next to it. That's where all the Nomads are at. You can pull it up on Google Maps. If you look on the street view, you can zoom in and you'll see all the RVs parked. Oh, also, if you look at my live stream from a few weeks ago, not last week, but like 3 weeks ago, I did a live stream on stealth camping, and I literally showed exactly where I parked at, and I showed some other stealth camping tips in Ocean Beach, San Diego. So check out that previous live stream. Super Dave says his 95 E350 gets 14 miles per gallon. That's incredible. That is incredible. So a 95 E350, I would guess it has a carbureted V8, or it could be a V6. Is it fuel injected? Super Dave, tell me what engine you have in that van. I have heard that actually carbureted vehicles, you can tweak the carburetors and you can get really good fuel economy out of them, which is interesting because we've been kind of told that like fuel economy or fuel injection is like the superior way to get better fuel economy, but I don't believe that it is. I think from everything I've seen, you can actually get better fuel economy with a carburetor if you know what you're doing. Okay, let me scroll down the chat, see what's happening. Raymond says, screw IKEA, get a dual drawer toolbox from Harbor Freight. Yeah, you can do that. In my last box truck build, I actually had a Husky tool chest from Home Depot. It was really nice. I liked it a lot. And it was the adjustable height, the sit stand desk. It was super nice. But if you're in a van, it's going to be hard to fit a toolbox from Harbor Freight. Maybe not. Maybe you have room for it. But the reason I mentioned the IKEA is because I just used the wood and then I cut everything myself and built my own cabinets and counter space. So if you're looking to build your own stuff, then IKEA, you can get the wood, like a really nice finished wood for much, much cheaper. And the nice thing is you don't have to paint it. It's already painted and finished very nice. You just cut it and put it in place and screw it and you're done. Diana says my 1990 V8 Schoolie gets 15 miles per gallon. That's impressive. I think my V10 must just be very terrible with fuel economy because I'm only getting 9.5. I'm not getting anything near you guys. I might need to buy an older box truck. It sounds like I'm getting scammed here. Donald says I'm old as F, but I want to get a box truck built and go. I hear ya. If you guys are looking to have something built out, I know a couple builders that I've talked to because a lot of people ask me about having builds. I don't do full builds anymore. I only do electrical work. If you guys are looking to get full build outs of vehicles, I have two builders that are very, very good at what they do and they're reliable and honest. I have one that's a little bit cheaper than the other, but depending what you want done, one of them is a very, very high level fabricator and he can make awesome, beautiful creations. So if you guys want information on box truck builders, let me know. Send me an email and I will give you a couple options. Charles, I want to go with an ultra minimalistic build for simplicity and maintainability, so I'm thinking of not putting in a shower or toilet. Yes, Charles, I've been living in a van for 6 years. I've never had a shower. I don't want a shower. I mean, this build out is really big. It's nice. There's plenty of room for a shower. I just don't want one. It's a hassle. Having to constantly fill and empty your water tanks is a pain. You know, people don't realize how fast water goes when you're taking a shower. And then you have to heat the water, so you need either a propane water heater or electric. It's a whole nightmare. So I don't do it. I shower at Planet Fitness, and honestly, I only shower maybe a couple days a week. So I would say don't bother with a shower. You don't need I would have some kind of sink. You're going to want a way to clean dishes, wash your face, brush your teeth, but you can have a very minimal sink setup. You don't need an electric water pump. You can just do the 5-gallon water jugs like that you get at Walmart or at a grocery store, the ones where you exchange them. So you buy the water jug, you use the 5 gallons. When it's empty, you take it in and swap it for a new one. And then they make water pumps that just sit right on the top. You can get a manual water pump or a little rechargeable electrical one, but that's a really easy way to add water. And then you can just do a tiny minimalist sink that just drains into a Rubbermaid container or something. But I would definitely have some kind of sink, but you don't have to be fancy and you don't need any official plumbing. Pat says, good info, thanks. Travels in a minivan, did 5,000 miles last October. That's impressive, Pat. I like the idea of 5,000 miles in a minivan. I think it would be a lot more comfortable and easy to drive. This big box truck, it lumbers down the road. It sways a lot. You know, it hits potholes pretty hard. It's definitely not, super comfortable to drive on long distances. So I wouldn't want to jam through 5,000 miles in it, but I think in a minivan it'd be pretty comfortable and pretty easy. And cruise control, I don't have cruise control, so that would be something I would also like to have for long distance traveling. Outdoors Dreadhead said he's going to watch Sunday. Yeah, dude, check it out. It's not a live video, so you can just catch it next time you're on YouTube, but all the information you're looking for is going to be covered in that video. Donald Frazier says, how much inverter power does it take to run your AC? Donald, the answer is not very much. My air conditioner is 800 watts max, and when it's on low, it only pulls 200 watts. So you could run this. I wouldn't want to have it real close to its limit, but I would say if you had like a 1500 watt pure sine inverter, it would run this thing no problem. No problem. And the nice thing about this mini split, I had a gentleman email me actually. He has a regular air conditioner that he's running on his inverter, and when his air conditioner starts, it pulls a ton of amps right at the beginning. And after using it all summer, it actually burnt out his power inverter because the air conditioner was pulling so much power on startup. But the benefit, and that's like the traditional rooftop air conditioners, but the benefit of these mini splits is the way they start out is they start out super low and they gradually build up to speed. So they won't damage your power inverter, and they're very easy on your electrical components. So, yep, that's the answer to your question, sir. Let's see what else we got. Tommy says, a sincere pleasure to be with my first live Nomad box truck chat. I love Tommy's comments. He always has emojis. He puts a ton of emojis in his chats, and so it's always colorful. I love seeing Tommy's comments. I appreciate you, Tommy. Happy to have you here. Donald says, I like the home built system. If a component fails, it's easier to fix. Absolutely, Donald. And keep in mind, you guys, if you're on the road and you have a component fail, you can order most of your stuff on Amazon. You can have it shipped to a local Amazon locker. And so anything you buy with Amazon Prime, you can usually have it. If you're in a big city, you can usually have it the next day or within 2 days. And if it's too big to fit in an Amazon locker, you can order it general delivery to your local post office. So that's like the fastest way to get replacement parts or just anything you need from Amazon. So I definitely recommend going that route. Build your own system. Don't do an all-in-one. If you think you're capable of building your own, I would definitely do it. I just think it makes more sense. Robert Michael says, hi everyone, love to see the like-minded folks. Absolutely. So many folks in the chat. We're all having a good time talking about van life, getting after it. Mike says side street is Pacific Street. Parallel to the beach. I've spent a few nights there. CMH Bullet, what's up, CMH Bullet? Happy to see you here. Welcome back to the live stream. Donald Frazier said Brad's followers are the best people. Super nice group. I agree, Donald. I try to be super positive and helpful in my content. There's no negativity. We're not tearing into people. We're not down and complaining about life. And so I feel like my followers resonate with that. It brings in a happy, positive, upbeat crowd. And I appreciate that. I appreciate all you guys being here, keeping it positive, and being supportive. Everyone in the group is super helpful. I appreciate you guys. Diana says, thank you. Helped me make up my mind about which system to go with for my solar. It makes sense to go with a system like yours. Absolutely, Diana. If you're going to do it long term and if you're going to run, bigger appliances and stuff, I think it makes sense to just DIY one. Robert Michael says hybrid vehicles for van life. I agree. I am 100% against electric vehicles because the charging is going to be a nightmare, and being limited to like 350 miles range is complete nonsense for what we do. But a hybrid vehicle would be awesome. That's where the gas engine charges your electrical battery, and even a plug-in hybrid, so where you have a gas engine but you have an option to plug into like a fast charger. I think that would be great, but I would never want to be without a gas motor. So I think a hybrid vehicle would be awesome. I would love a hybrid van, 100%. Aaron Andy, what's up, brother? Where do you shower? I shower at Planet Fitness about twice a week. Robert Michael, someone's got to come up with an add-on hybrid system. That's what I'm saying, Robert. Make it happen. All you would need is a huge battery pack. Well, I guess the trick is you would need an electric motor for the wheel. So yeah, it would be a little bit involved, but I would love to see some kind of an add-on kit. Robert Michael, got a good place for cabinetry is the Restore. Absolutely. The Restore and Habitat for Humanity are all over the country. It's a great spot for all kind of building supplies. You can find screws and caulking guns and nails and paint and caulking and sinks and faucets and cabinets, all kinds of stuff. So if you're looking to save some money, definitely check out Restore or Habitat for Humanity. Pat says, wish we could see the future for the price of gas. We're $2.95 in South Carolina. I paid $5 in San Bernardino. That's a good price on gas. I miss the Texas gas prices. Last year in Texas, we were down to like $1.95 a gallon. It was unbelievable. I was loving it. And then last month I was in San Diego paying $4.75 a gallon. I'm sure it's gone up more since then. So it's just one of those things. It's part of the expense of being a nomad. But the benefit is I'm not paying $2,000 a month rent plus electricity, water, sewer, garbage rental insurance, all that other business. So I'm fine paying for gas, but I do, of course, wish the prices were a little bit less. I do believe we'll go to $5 plus a gallon, especially in California, especially in summertime. If you pay attention, they raise gas prices in the summer. They know everybody's traveling, going on road trips, hitting summer vacation, and so they punish us. They punish us for exercising our freedom by increasing the gas prices. I am not a fan. Outdoors dreadhead, shower and van ain't nothing but a high dollar closet for your clothes and junk. Absolutely, dreadhead, I agree with you. I've talked to a lot of van lifers that have showers. Most of them do not use them. They just end up using them as storage. It's hard for people to understand when you haven't lived in a van and you haven't experienced the routine of filling and emptying water tanks. And it's one of those things, I just want to talk about this because a lot of people complain on my videos, not you guys, but like people that aren't familiar with van life and they just come across one of my videos, they complain about not having a shower. I just want to be clear, van life in general is all about trade-offs. Life is about choices and trade-offs. So you can have convenience. You can live in a house, in an apartment. You can have your food delivered to your house, Uber Eats, your DoorDash. You can have everything delivered. You can take a hot shower every night. You can have that. It's convenient. But the trade-off is you don't have the freedom. You live in that apartment or that house every day. You probably work a lot to pay to live there. You get to go out once in a while on your days off or travel on vacations. But overall, you're kind of locked into that apartment or that house, which a lot of people want that, and that's fine. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying it's a trade-off. So I've chosen, by choice, I've voluntarily chosen to trade off some conveniences like a daily shower, although I didn't shower every day even when I had a house, but conveniences like a live-in shower and having food delivered to my house and having a set location. I've decided to trade that for more freedom, more flexibility, more travel, and less expense. So it's a choice I made. So you guys can make the choice. I'm not trying to convince anybody to not take a shower every day. If you want to shower every day, you can absolutely do that. But it's going to be difficult to shower every day if you're living in a van. It's a lot of effort. And what you'll find out is once you start living in a van, your priorities will change. They will. You won't be as focused on things like daily showers, shopping, watching Netflix, all the things you do right now. Your desires and wants will change once you experience the freedom and you realize like I can go anywhere, I can do anything, I have extra income, I could spend the day at the beach, I could spend the day, maybe you enjoy doing disc golf or hunting or shopping, whatever you want to do, I don't care. But once you realize you can spend more time doing the things you want to do, the other things you do because you're at a house become less important. So keep that in mind. Once you get into a van, your priorities will change and you will probably not want to shower that often. Pat says 17 to 23 miles a gallon. I believe it. In the minivan, absolutely. I love it. Diana Saylor, I think she's in Missouri, paying $3.19 a gallon. That's not bad. We're about $3.50 here in Arizona, $3.50, $3.60. Robert says, looks like I'm being forced into the van life. My divorce went final last week and the house goes up for sale June 1st. Cannot bring myself to pay $1,600 for a one bedroom. Robert, I'm with you, brother. $1,600, that's just to get you in the door. You got to pay your security deposit. Sometimes you got to pay a month rent up front, and then you got to pay all the other fees, your garbage, your electrical, then you got to pay your internet and everything else, and you still got to probably have a car on top of that. So then you're paying for a car that you only use a little bit. It doesn't make sense, man. It doesn't make sense. So I think van life is calling for you, buddy. I think you're going to enjoy it. Charles, any thoughts on the Trillino toilet or Lavio dry flush? Yeah, I like the dry flush, Charles, I'm sorry. I like the dry flush. That's what I would recommend. It's a little bit large physically. It's a little bit larger than some of the other toilets, and it's a little costly. I think it's around maybe like 50 cents or $1 per use. So it's not cheap, but I think the convenience is nice. You don't have to, you basically use the set amount of bags, and then it seals it every time. And then once it's done, you just throw it in the trash can. There's no odor, no cleanup. Any of the other like composting toilet or like the Boxio toilet I have, you have to clean it, you have to wipe it down. There is some odor. It's just one of those things. It's a trade-off. So I do like the dry flush. I would recommend it if it's in your budget. What I would probably recommend as a man is I would still use a pee bottle, and I would just use the dry flush for my number twos. That's what I would do. It'll save you some money. And like as a man, just using a pee bottle is super simple. I prefer it, honestly. I prefer it over going into a house that doesn't have a urinal. Like a house with a regular toilet, I just prefer to use a pee bottle. It's way easier. So that's what I would do, Charles. Robert, can't justify 20,000 a year. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, in a one-bedroom apartment, I mean, it's not that exciting. And 1,600, that's probably not buying you a fancy one. And you got neighbors and kids screaming, and it's like, what are you doing, dude? And then, if you're living in a one-bedroom apartment, all you're doing is cooking food, sleeping, and watching TV. I mean, that's kind of all you can really do in a one-bedroom apartment. So you might as well do that in a van, save 20K a year, and live where you want to live. Have fun, travel, run on the beach. You can live in a really expensive area for really cheap. That's what I'd recommend. Live free and van venture. I've ordered DoorDash using a nearby building. Yeah, there you go. I know on some of those food delivery services, you can order and then you can like go in the app and update your location. So that might be an option, is like order something. Like for example, I'm in this Home Depot parking lot. You could order DoorDash to the Home Depot, and then maybe when it gets close, you could hop in the app and just say, oh, hey, I'm in the parking lot, something like that. So yeah, totally do DoorDash, no problem. Live free and van venture. Priorities changes every day. Absolutely. Life is all about trade-offs. Absolutely. That's all it is trade-offs. You just got to prioritize what's important for you. And for some people, they really want the consistency of living in a specific place, in an apartment. They want to shower every day. That's fine. But just know what's important to you. And if that's important for you, then don't live in a van. But if saving money and freedom and adventure is more important, then don't get that apartment. It ain't gonna bring you happiness. Buddy's Game Room says, what did you make for dinner tonight? Buddy's Game Room, I didn't make dinner yet. I did an early lunch. And I cooked some steaks, baby. I actually went to Sam's Club with my dad a couple days ago, and I got a huge pack of steaks. They had some discount steaks, so I got I don't even know how much it was. I got a huge pack of steaks for half off, and they are delicious. And then I also cooked up some sweet potatoes. So I had steaks and sweet potatoes for lunch. As soon as the live stream's over, I'm actually going to go into Home Depot. I need to buy one thing, and then I'm going to swing back by my dad's house for dinner. They're making some dinner tonight, so I'll swing back there, wrap up the night, and I want to spend some time with them while I'm here in Yuma, and then I'm leaving, hopefully Friday, heading to San Diego, and I won't be seeing my dad and Carolyn again until probably next winter. So I want to get in the last few moments I can with them, and that includes dinner tonight. Robert says 1,600 plus. Absolutely. Yeah, it's everything else, brother. All the other bills. 16 is just to get you started, man. Buddy's Game Room. Did you notice a difference on how much money you saved prior to van life? Yeah, absolutely, buddy. I did a video on my van life expenses. When I was in Austin, Texas last year, I calculated my expenses. My entire living expenses for the month of June while van lifing in Austin, Texas was only $1,300. That was everything. Gas, food, restaurants, my cell phone, my van insurance, my storage unit, my Planet Fitness membership. That was everything. $1,300 a month. You can't even rent a one bedroom for $1,300 a month in Austin, Texas. And then you got to pay for on top of that for all your other expenses. So very cheap, very cheap. Before I got into van life, I owned a house. It was very expensive. My mortgage was, this was the good old days too. I had like a 3% mortgage. and I put a lot down on my house. I think my mortgage payment was like 1,600 a month, and then I still had all my other expenses. You know, I had mortgage insurance, homeowners insurance. I had my property taxes cooked into my mortgage payment, and then I still had a car. So I had a car insurance, car payment. No car payment, I owned my car, but car insurance, you know, and then car maintenance, tires, all that other stuff. So yeah, I mean, I was spending 3,000 plus a month, you know, just for my living expenses and vehicle. And then on top of that, everything else. It's crazy. Charlie says, I seen someone use an electric incinerator toilet. Yeah, Charlie, I would just caution you to look into how those operate. The ones I've looked at, it takes like an hour. It takes 45 minutes for an hour to burn up your number two. And they use a lot of energy because they're creating heat. And if it's electric, that thing's going to be pulling in probably 12 or 1500 watts for an hour, which isn't bad. If you have the solar system and the battery bank for it, just make sure everything is sized appropriately. But keep in mind, if you use the toilet, it's basically unusable for an hour, which for most people should be fine. But I do like the idea that it's electric, so it's running off free energy from the sun. So I do like it. Just make sure you have the proper electrical system to make sure you can run that thing, because from what I've seen, they do run for like an hour. Go back to the chat. Man, you guys are active tonight. I appreciate all the feedback. It helps make my job so much easier when I know what you guys want to talk about and you provide feedback. John C., I just paid $2,400 for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath rent on 1,000 square feet. John C., that is criminal. That is criminal, my friend. I'm sorry to hear that. I hate to see it. 1,000 square feet. That's nuts. That's insane. Outdoors Dreadhead, 5-gallon bucket with a trash bag and sawdust. That's what I used, honestly, for the last, my first 5 years of van life. Before I got this Boxio toilet, I just used a 5-gallon bucket with a bag, and I used kitty litter, but you can use sawdust or like wood chips, like from a pet store. They sell wood chips for like hamster cages, and so those are a better choice because they smell nice. They smell like pine shavings. I don't recommend cat litter. It smells weird. I don't like it. It was a terrible choice. I hated it. I hardly ever used it for that reason. It was terrible. Hey Marview, what's up? Happy to see you here. Happy to see you on the chat. You're a strong supporter. Love it when you come on the lives. Robert Michael says, I think I enjoy these videos because Brad seems genuinely happy with his decisions and he has so much useful information for the rest of us that are about to take the leap. Thank you, Robert. I agree. I'm so happy with my life situation. I mean, I'm just being honest with you guys. Like, you know, if I didn't like this, I wouldn't do it. You know, like I have skills. Like I could just go get a regular job and rent an apartment. And with my skills, if I worked for 6 months, I could save up and buy a house. Like I could do all those. I could do that if I wanted to. I choose not to. I've been down that road. You know, I ran my own HVAC business. I owned a house. I've been there. I don't want to work that many hours in a day. Life is short. I'm not trying to spend 50 hours working on somebody else's dream. That's what it comes down to. You're working 50 hours a week, you know, to make someone else's dream come true. And then you're trying to live your dream on the nights and weekends, but you're too tired, so you just end up watching Netflix. It's a vicious cycle. Vicious cycle. And another thing I wanted to comment on is I like doing the lives because I've been doing van life so long, I have no idea what questions you guys want help with. There's a lot of things that for me are just simple and basic, and so I wouldn't even think to talk about them like in a regular video. So I like you guys just being here and asking me stuff so I can help you out on the fly and give you answers. Because I have a lot of knowledge, but I don't, you know, always know what to say. So help you guys out. Help you guys out. What's happening? Hey, Pat. Pat's signing off. Thank you so much, Pat. It was good to see you. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate your donation. Appreciate you so much. Please come back to another live. We're happy to have you. Good questions. Everybody that commented tonight, we're coming down to the end of it. It's 7 o'clock. I got to get home and have dinner with my dad. But I want to just spend a few more minutes here to answer questions. If you guys have anything you really want answered to, drop it in the chat one more time. And I'm going to try to do maybe another 5 minutes of questions before I take off. Charles asks about a small home base. Yes, Charles, I agree. I think a home base is a good idea. And here's actually my idea, Charles. I'm not against having property or owning a home. I'm just against having a home or property that owns you, that's a money pit. So here's my advice for anybody that wants a home base. Buy a property with a house and a space to park your vehicle, or a shop or a garage or even a second unit. And buy it in a place you would want to live sometime during the year. So like, for example, I spend winters in Arizona. I would consider buying a home base in Arizona. I like to travel in the summer, but if I wanted to spend summer in Oregon, then I would buy a home base in Oregon. And then what you do is you rent out the primary residence, rent it out fully. Find a family, find someone that wants it long term, rent it out to them, let them pay down the mortgage for you, and then you live in the garage, in the shop, in the attached unit, or if you're super nomad and you're comfortable in your vehicle, live in your vehicle on the property and just put it in the lease. Let them know, make sure they're cool people, and let them know, hey, I'm going to be coming by once in a while. I'll give you a heads up. I might be here between this window and that window. I'm not going to bother you, but I will be coming in to live in this section of the property. So if you guys can do that, you can own land, you can have something to fall back on, you can have an investment, but you're not paying the mortgage. It's not costing you any money. That's what you should do. That's what I would do, Charles. Now, the other option is, if you want to live there part-time and you don't want people living there while you're living there, you could rent it out like a vacation rental. You could put it on Airbnb and then just don't book it out when you want to use it, and then rent it out while you're gone. But I would consider having like a full-time family live in the main house long term. I think that'd be less of a headache than doing like Airbnb style stuff. But I guess it depends. I know you can make pretty good money on Airbnb, but it depends on your location. Like, you know, if I was going to just buy a home base, like, you know, some little house in Arizona, you're probably not going to get a bunch of money on Airbnb. So you'd be better off using it as a long-term rental. Marview, Brad for governor. Whoop, whoop, whoop. I love it, man. Let's see what we got. Let's cruise down to the questions. Hey, Charlie Pepin, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you, Charlie. I just see Charlie drop me a 10 spot. Thank you so much, brother. That's going to help fuel me for my trip over to San Diego. Let's roll down. Okay, I'm going to try to get to some of your questions really quick. Nomad Brad equals no nonsense Brad. 100%, brother. Bringing you the facts. Josh LLC says best van buying tips. Josh LLC, we're running out of time, but go to my channel, click on the tab for my live streams. I did a live stream about 4 weeks ago. It says find good van deals. The title's something like that. It's like an hour and a half live stream. I covered everything. Where to buy them at, what to look for, what kind of vehicle to buy, how to have them inspected. All the best juicy nuggets of information are in that live stream. Go back and watch it. And then if you have any questions, email me or attend the next live chat next Wednesday and I'll answer it for you. But watch that live stream first because a lot of your questions will be answered. And I actually go through specifically on the video how to search for vans on Facebook Marketplace. All the details. Check it out. You'll love it. Miranda and Christ, how much, in your opinion, should one have in savings before starting? That's a good question. I think a good number would be $5,000 to have in savings. And I say that to because of van repairs. You know, mechanics are getting more and more expensive, parts are getting more and more expensive. You could expect to spend easily $2,000 to $3,000 on a van repair. Something basic could be 2 to 3 grand. So I would recommend you have at least 5,000 in savings as a minimum. I know that's a lot of money, but that's just my recommendation. If you're working and you have a job, then maybe you don't need to have that much saved up. But also, if you're working and have a job, you should be able to save up. What I would recommend is if you don't have a lot of money, I would say just you can start van life without a big savings if you're going to stay in town. All right. So stay in town, go to van life, stay in town, work your job, build up your savings, and then travel. So I would say have 5,000 before you start traveling and going like off outside of your support network, right? So if you're still in your regular town, if you have a breakdown, you can go stay with a friend or a family member while your vehicle is being worked on. You could probably borrow money from somebody. So you'll still have your support network. So I'd recommend not leaving your support network until you have at least 5,000 in savings. Charles Hood, $9.99 super chat. I appreciate you, Charles. Thank you for the contribution. Helps keep the channel rolling. I hope you appreciate that tip. I think that's a very wise piece of information, and that's something I'm going to be looking at over the next few years as I want to get land. I have a couple ideas about getting a big piece of property and maybe renting out spaces to other van dwellers. But also I might try to just buy a regular residential piece of property with a place for me to park my van and then rent it out long term. I think it's a great idea. Adventures with Super Dave, $600 a month and $150 for electric. That's all. That's a really good price. That's probably on his mortgage. Very good value. I like it. Kaya says, did Nico reach out for a build? That name sounds kind of familiar. I think possibly. I got a few emails and I replied to people, Kaya, so I think maybe so. I'm not sure. Buddy's game room. How much power would you need to play video games all day in van life? So Buddy, all you got to do is figure out what kind of gaming machine you want to use. Look at the specs, figure out how many watts it uses, and then figure out what kind of monitor you want to use. Figure out how many watts the monitor uses, and then take the watts of the game system plus the watts of the monitor, multiply that by how many hours a day you want to use it, and that's how many watts that you will need in battery storage. Simple. Diana, I only have liability. I've never had full coverage. I heard, if you guys want a tip, I just heard that Allstate has officially opened up. Hey, there's Nomad King Gamer on the live stream. What up, Nomad? I heard that Allstate has just opened up an insurance plan especially for van lifers, and they are offering full coverage. So my friend Ben just insured his box truck for like $70,000. He has a pretty nice build, and he did it through Allstate, and he told me his full coverage is like $100 a month, which is pretty hard to believe, but he's a straight shooter. So if you guys are looking for insurance, apparently Allstate is now doing policies for van life. Marview, yes, this is my current view. I'm coming to you live from Home Depot. I wanted to give you guys a little live action cam and just show you guys where I'm at. Hanging out in the parking lot of Home Depot, baby. Let's see where we're at. Where are we at? Going down. Donald Frazier, peace out, man. Happy to have you here, Donald. Thanks for joining in. Marview gifted 5 Nomad Brad memberships. J. Will Wanderer. Oh, that's cool. Marview, thanks for the membership gifts. I didn't even know you could do that. That is badass. I like that. That's cool, man. That's the gift that keeps on giving, you know. unlocking the power of knowledge to some subscribers. So that's cool. I like it. So cool, man. Thank you. Thank you, Marvy. Appreciate it. Marvy the boss. Wanderer got a membership. Jay Will got a membership. 2 for 6 8 got a membership. Eggnog got a membership. And Matt AK got a membership. So cool. I love it. Yes. Okay. All right. That's it, guys. I'm out of here. It's 7 p.m., 7:11 p.m. I'm hungry. I got to go to Home Depot and buy a couple things, and I'm going to go back home and see my dad before I go to San Diego. Thank you for being here tonight. Marview, thank you for gifting the memberships. Everyone that contributed tonight with your donations, you're much appreciated. Excuse me. Charles, Super Dave, Charlie came through with a donation. I appreciate all you guys. Also, was it Noonan? Pat? Yep, Pat Noonan came through. All you guys, thank you so much. Every dollar helps. Helps me continue to do the chats, share the knowledge. I have a video coming out Sunday if you guys want to know more about my electrical system. And I will see you hopefully next Wednesday live from San Diego. We'll be on the beach. I'll be trying to do a live stream from Fiesta Island. We can watch the sun go down. Hopefully we get a beautiful sunset. I'll see you next Wednesday. Nomad Brad signing out.